Hello guys, hi, how's it going? Welcome to episode 5 of Geeks About Gaming. I am the Wilden, and then we have Kendall.
What's up?
Back as
everybody?
always, the real hero of the podcast. So guys, welcome to our 5th episode. Okay, so here's the thing. So last week, if you watched our episode last week, if you watched our, you know what, I should just, by the way, I'm staring at these bits, they're driving me nuts. Okay. If you saw last week's episode, I was a little enthusiastic, to say the least, because we're hitting in June, E3 month, things were happening, a lot of announcements and stuff happening this month and all that, a lot of things coming, and then the weekend happened, and then just everything kind of changed. Everything changed. Oh yeah. Oh, nice. Everything kind of changed, and so we're in a different place now than we were a week ago. All those things I'm excited for are still happening, but things are being shifted around. We're going to cover that. A lot of stuff's been moved or shifted or pushed back. And there's been a lot of things that have been happening in the world. Just a lot of build-up, one thing to the next. So we thought we couldn't have this podcast without covering the big topic of what's been going on with society as a whole and the gaming industry in general. So I think, Kendall, maybe you want to kind of start taking it from there. You might be better at this than me.
So basically, last week we had a lot of announcements saying there would be announcements this week. But as everyone knows, this past weekend, something terrible has happened in our country, and we have all set aside our personal endeavors to fight together for the cause of Black Life Matters. Every Black life matters. And all lives don't matter until Black lives do. I'm sure we can all agree with that. Because of this, even bigger outlets like PlayStation and bigger companies, they have realized what is happening and they know the right thing to do, which was push back everything. Push back all the release dates, their announcements, and honestly, it was the right call.
Yeah.
We did not need any announcements this past weekend. We needed to fight together.
So we're going to we decide that to start it off, because it was one of those things where I was asked, I don't know if we should save at the end or the beginning, but at least we kind of felt like it felt right to cover this in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And Kendall was very proactive and wanted to do this as well, of talking about the gaming industry as a whole and people of color and what they seem to be struggling with and things of that sort. And then later on we'll get to talking about like what's being postponed and all that. There's a couple interesting things going on with Sony. They got some stuff going on. But I figured, so Kendall was very proactive and wanted to talk about this, so I figured, Kendall, I'll just kind of let you have the floor and just kind of share all your thoughts and things you have about what's been happening with the gaming industry as a whole, and where you think if there's things going to change or what's happening, what do you see changing, and yeah.
Yeah, basically, I think, honestly, this is going to be a little weird to say, and I don't know how to say this, but if it weren't for the pandemic, we all wouldn't be as proactive as we are now for Black Lives Matter, because we would all have 9-to-5 jobs, and we wouldn't have the full force we have now. And I think these big companies also saw that. They saw this as an opportunity to show to have and create a better community. And to do that is you have to be with the people, they honestly realize that merchandise can be replaced. And I think it's great. And everyone on the internet right now is supporting one another with their content creation or with their online businesses or anything, and we're all like sharing links and we're signing petitions and we're donating, and they're actually right now the gaming community on Twitch, specifically for Black streamers, are starting to become affiliates because we're all sharing each other's profiles and whatnot. So in the end, we have realized that there is this community that I guess we're kind of putting off to the side, which is pretty awful. And I'm going to move things around because right now our top 50 streamers, about 60, I think it was like 68% of them are non-POC. They're all white. And that's the top 50 streamers on Twitch. And the rest is muffled between POC. And I think we as a gaming community didn't realize what was really happening. And now we have like we're blossoming basically, and we're supporting each other. And I think that's honestly amazing. It's really awful the way this had to happen. It's so sad, but there's so many people who are now being vocal about supporting one another. But also, yeah, I was just going to say there are like some streamers who had to be, I guess, persuaded and pushed to be vocal. So you just have to take that as you will. You know, you just kind of
yeah,
it's
falling that trap. It was like it wasn't even just limited streamers. It was like it was streamers, influencers, anybody that was known for something. It's you get that automatic. If you didn't say anything at all, like, what are you doing, kind of thing. And given like how in the events have happened in the past, some people have that mindset of just like, well, I'm better off just not saying anything at all because I don't want to lose people that I have, or I don't want to say anything to ruin my career and things like that. And you're seeing more people being like, one of the good things is more people now saying, oh, you know what, it may hurt my career, it may hurt my followers. Some people willing to like leave their positions of power to support the cause.
Like John Boyega, he literally made this crazy amazing speech, and somewhere in there he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a career after this, but fuck that. Like, that was actually his words, and it was inspiring. And then we even saw like people of authority start turning their badges in because they weren't allowed to, protest, and it was, I don't know. So it's mostly people watching after their careers or completely pushing their careers aside because this is such a big movement for them.
Yeah, and it's finally, it is resulting, and you are seeing some change. You're seeing people of color, creators, whether they're artists, hosts, things like that have already been in the industry being recognized more now. And those that are trying to get into the industry maybe will hopefully finally get a fair chance like the rest of us are, and it's weird for me to talk about this because I'm almost transparent sometimes, I'm as white as it gets, so I don't know what it's like to be in that position. And for me to like say too much on it, I would be talking out my butt, It's just, as somebody as me, at least I know, and I know you too. I've always welcomed, especially in my streams, anybody, no matter race, gender, anything. I always just liked having people there. In general, I was just thankful whoever it was. So it's good to see that. I'm trying to look up this tweet because there was this tweet that I saw once that is a really good tweet. I'm gonna try to find it.
I believe in you.
Yeah, because I've been watching stuff. Like I've seen like kind of funny and other companies showcasing black hosts, and they've had them on for gaming this whole week, which have been great. I'm trying to find the tweet I'm looking for. I'm gonna see if I can find it. It's a few days before I can find it.
Well, while you try to find that, I'll just say that at this time, some people are now considering making, like, I guess, main characters of video games POC. And, like, it's something that they're making or developing, and people are like, we need more POC main characters in video games. Because I guess we don't really have that right now, and it's kind of true. We really don't. Like, I can't really think of just, like, normal world video games and the main character's POC. I can think of a bunch of games that are set not in America or not in Europe, and it's like a white person. I can, like, there are a bunch of games like that, or there are games that are set in Asia and it's an Asian person. Like, I get that. Or like, but what about just regular ass games? Man, I'm cussing a lot today. Just regular ass games. Yeah, like, besides the games where you can create your own character, you can customize their appearance, why aren't there a lot of games where you can pick how you want to look? You know? Or, like, why is it now, this is like a different topic, but, like, why is it now that we can pick between a male and a female character, you know? Why don't we have multiple options or something? If it's not historically accurate, what's the point of keeping it a non-POC main character?
Yeah, shoot, I can't find the original tweet that I was looking for, because I was trying to find Blessing, who's a host in the gaming community. He's kind of newer in the hosting spectrum, but he shifts gears to kid careers. He's a cool dude, but he said something really awesome, and I can't find his tweet to bring it up. But you hit the nail on the head. There should be, but I don't know if that's... hopefully this speeds up that process.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. Only now is it becoming kind of standard within the last 5 or 6 years. Maybe, like, one of the few I remember was, like, Mass Effect was, like, one of the first big ones that really did it, was having that option of choosing male or female as the main protagonist, like, at the beginning. And then, really, to see if it took that long to get there, it's like, how long is it gonna be?
Yeah.
A faster turnaround for this, I hope. But I don't know. I mean, the only one I can honestly think of off the top of my head was, like, the Assassin's Creed spinoff. I think it was Freedom Cry. And where you played as... He was, like, one of the secondary main characters to the main guy. And he had his own spinoff game. But you're right. We're so unintentionally saying something bad by not thinking about the fact that we have to pick people of color as, like, an option. Like, that's, like, you go to your character and you have to search, okay, let me find the color of my skin here, because instinctively, it's always usually white by default. And so, whether it's you're Asian or you're black or anything like that, you always kind of... I noticed you have to, like, search, like, no matter what it is, it's, their face, their heritage, you always have to search around for these defaults and then readjust it from there.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're kind of just naturally used to that, you don't really think about, oh, this doesn't have to be this way. We're just instinctively used to that. So that's a good point to bring up, because I didn't even really consider that. But yeah, there's no reason why we can just have, a female character or anything. Not really. And recently, too, I mean, I've been replaying Last of Us, but I can't remember her name, but, like, the lead character of the Fireflies from Last of Us, Daisy Fitzroy from Bioshock Infinite. Those are, like, interesting, compelling characters, I think. And they're, like, the side characters, so just imagine, just, like, why not put them in the lead, I mean, I think games are kind of getting there with that by introducing more people of color and those means, but it should be time for something like that to happen now. And hopefully with all these now voices and hosts in the gaming community and all these people, hopefully with what's going on, people of color can finally get that fair opportunity to go into games, and then as a result of that, they can hopefully make that transition a lot easier.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
You know, I think that's the way to do it. Is as we get more people of color in the industry, then we'll start seeing more people of color and things like that.
And I think we're the generation that started too.
Yeah, and even then, like, I remember being younger, it felt weird for a guy to play a female character, because it's like, why would we play a female character? We're guys. And then as we started getting older, and then our generations started coming in, we started seeing, like, oh, you know what, playing females, not so bad. What's wrong with that? And and now it's whether you choose or not. It seems most of the time a lot of people like playing female characters anyway, even if there is a choice.
We're like breaking the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Like little by little. We're chipping away at that thing until it completely shatters.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I mean, it was 2 white people, but people were more interested in the female character and all that in general. So, yeah, I think we're interested for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I said, there's very few I can think of, like Coltrane. He was pretty awesome. There were a few, but or like the Sarge from Halo. There's certain ones. All these. I mean,
they're there, but like you have to think about them to really think about them. You know, you have to like search your brain.
You do, but I remembered for the most part, except for the leader of the Fireflies. I can't remember her name, but all those people I mentioned by name. If I was somehow able to mention those side characters by name, imagine the impact of a main protagonist.
Yeah, but now that we're having more like POC in the streaming world, like we are literally making so many Black streamers affiliates right now that it could, like, it's not saturated it's saturated, but like, you know, saturated with certain people, but like it's happening. We're creating diversity on Twitch.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, I think that's the end goal, right? Is that this whole issue isn't an issue anymore. It's not a factor. It's not something that's really thought of. It's that, you know, even if, you know, if you're qualified or you're entertaining enough, it's just making sure the right people deserve what they get. Because you want to be careful too, because you don't want to then push to be like, oh, I am going to give somebody this just because they're this. And that's the old thought process. But now we just need that thought process as it's a fair shot to anybody, no matter what their color is or their gender is. You know, it's, you know, just, you don't think about that. You just, if the person deserving, and just make sure the people that get the right people get the success that they deserve.
Yep.
And then it's not you're not accidentally giving success to people who are pieces of poop or who are not the best or take advantage of their position, which is another thing that happens a lot in this industry. That's what we don't want to happen. You know, we don't want to open up to more chances of that happening either.
Yeah.
So
I feel like as a society, as a young generation, we're moving in the right direction. And it just takes us and a lot of people to really convince the older people, which is really sad to say.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I mean, I know my parents and I disagree on stuff, but it's one of the things too, it's not only that, what makes us, I think, a little bit different, our generation specifically, compared to, let's say, this new generation's developing. As this new generation developing, or is growing up with people like us who are fighting for this cause, but us, like, we grew up thinking things were a certain way, so we're literally, like, trying to erase the instincts that our parents kind of input on us of how society works. So we're trying to do, like, 2 things at once. We're trying to move forward, but we're also trying to get out of the stuff that was ingrained, which is tough sometimes. It's really tough. It's
super tough. I can tell you, I actually, this is going to get a little personal. I actually was raised to discriminate against Hispanics and Blacks. That's how my sister and I were raised. And to this day, my mom is still like that. But my sister and I have realized that we are adults and we can make opinions for ourselves, and why does it matter what skin color they are? Like, how does that pertain to how they are as a person? And that's kind of like why my sister and I like think our family is like toxic. That's like part of the reason. So like it was hard to really understand what we were being taught and like what the world really looked like. And now here we are, fighting for the same cause. Let's go.
Yeah, no, and it's cool. It's cool that, hopefully people give a fair shot, because that's where all the most interesting content happens. It's when cool people stuff to get together. Let's just, there's still a few knuckleheads in certain industries that kind of need to go, but once you get rid of those, as long as you don't prevent more knuckleheads from coming in, and more people are welcome, more creativity, more things can happen. It never hurts to have more people working on more cool stuff.
Yeah.
Why push that away? I mean, who knows how much creative things have been pushed away or aside because of being slightly judging people a certain way, and it's and that's the worst part too. Is it's always sometimes it's not like being out front with it, but it's like certain little comments you might say. That's the hardest struggle too, I think, especially for people like white people. We sometimes say things that we don't think are bad, and it doesn't process in our brain what we say or think is bad.
Yeah.
But as long as we sit there and start to listen a little bit, then you start thinking, well, okay, even me, I felt like me, and when I recognized when my dad said something, or I'm starting to recognize more like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, or that, it doesn't sound right like it used to.
Yeah.
So we gotta make sure everybody listens to each other too. That's the other important thing here.
You have to listen to each other, educate each other, and support each other. That's the main key point.
Yes. Yeah, so that's kind of like, we just needed to cover that. We do have an announcement related to that, but I think we should put that towards the end of the stream.
And then I'll start off by, here's some games you guys can try out right now that is created by Black developers. One of them is Hair Na, and it's created by Momo Pixel. It is a browser-based game, and it's basically a woman with beautiful hair. I think you get to pick what kind of hair you have, too. And you're just traveling around the world, and all you do is swipe away intruding hands that want to touch your hair. And this game was made by someone who is personally experienced by that. People who are asking to touch your hair without permission because they think it's so exotic and so unnatural. Not unnatural, but unnatural to them, And that's called Hair Na. You can get that.
I like Hair Na, like Hair Na.
Like it's literally Hair Na, and that's actually free on hairna.com. That's NAH. Hairna.com.
It's so weird touching people's hair. I get if it was like your significant other like that, but that's weird to me.
Yeah, right? It's also like the same thing with like pregnant women where people just touch your pregnant belly because you're pregnant.
Yeah, I don't know if you've where your hair's been. I don't want, I don't know, and
yeah, right?
It's a little too touchy-feely for my taste. People thrive on that, though. Yeah, the whole, baby, they're like, oh, can I touch it? Can I feel it? And it's...
Can I touch your stomach?
It's like you're the only person they'll ever meet in their life that will ever be pregnant. The chances are so low of people getting pregnant in society. They're like, this is my one shot. I gotta touch this now. I'll never have that.
Yeah. Is that how they feel about ethnic hair? They're like, this is my one shot.
Yeah. I'll never be able to touch this hair ever again. Oh,
That's why this game was created, to really, bring acknowledgement to that experience. It's like, what? That's a thing? It is a thing.
I just imagine, I guess the thought process is well, I'm not gonna go into a wig store and touch it, but I do kind of want to touch it, but I don't want to feel like there's a weird person that just goes into a wig store, and have people stare at me. So I'm like, oh, it's less weird if I just it'd be like, oh, and then just okay.
So
At least I'm
stupid.
asking. Oh, well.
Right? Yeah. All right. Another game is Treachery in Beatdown City, made by New Challenger. It's 8-bit brawler inspired, and basically, yeah, it's just a brawler that has like unique combat systems, and it has a more like comical narrative, and also what's that word I'm looking for? With an added soundtrack of like really awesome rap. So it's like, yeah, it's just like a very awesome video game if you like brawlers. That's the one to go for. You can get that on Steam for $19.99.
Oh, nice.
If you're looking for something more family friendly, family oriented, there's Tiny Bird Garden, made by Super Retro Duck, and it's basically a animal simulator, a pet simulator of birds. And you can customize your garden, and it's like really fun. I've seen pictures and videos of it, and like you can like get squirrels to come into your garden and stuff.
What's the name of this game one more time?
Tiny Bird Garden. It's really cute looking, honestly.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's like a little app game. Oh.
Yeah, it looks like it's literally, yeah, like flat based and just like, yeah, it's like 2D and whatnot. You can get this on Steam for $9.99. I think it's like I feel like this is one of those games that would just kind of go super. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, you literally
you got a variety of
birds.
people to choose from. There you go, and you got this stupid ass looking bird,
and you can customize the way your garden looks and like what like toys to put, and like where to put it, and then yeah.
I don't know. It's weird of them of this bird just chilling on their chest. You know, that looks a little interesting, but that's awesome. Cool. That's funny.
And then if you're looking for something less family friendly but still as fun, there's Swim Sanity. That's made by Decoy Games, and it's basically you have a bunch of abilities and tools to survive underwater. I don't know if it's like a survivor game, but there's just like underwater enemies that you kind of have to avoid / fight. And that is supposed to come out 2020. It hasn't. I can't find it for some reason anymore. It technically came out 2019, but then you look on Steam and then it said it came out 2020. So it's like, wait, when did it come out?
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know about that one, but that one sounds fun.
Yeah, for sure. Have you got any other ones? Or is that...
And those were the ones I picked that have like a nice, like, here's like a nice, just fun swiping game, and then here's a brawler, here's family friendly, and then here's one just like just for you.
No, those are good recommendations. Yeah, we should do that. We should try to do like more game recommendations.
For sure.
Of like that, of just like different ones that are people, you know, whether it's people of color or just different like weird obscure ones. That's a cool thing. In addition, I can't say. I don't know if this game was made by people of color or not, for sure. But it is a game that one of the few games in the industry that has broken the barrier, I think, in terms of it's reached a variety of people of color. Everybody seems to like it. It's a game that, no matter what kind of game you are, like myself, for example, on paper, it would not be a game that I would normally play. Yeah. But it's like a game that I like it too. It's a game that, for some reason, I've never met somebody that didn't dislike this. And that is... honorable mention to the Def Jam franchise. And which is one of those games, too, that I know people have been clamoring for it to come back. At some point, if it does, I would. If you never played one of the Def Jam games, I would recommend it because it was a fighting game that had people of black culture involved, more specifically kind of rappers, you know, like Snoop Dogg or I don't know, maybe like Ludacris or whatever, and it was just like a fighting sort of thing. And I don't know what it was, but it was just something about that franchise where like everybody really liked it. It was something weird, something different. A little cartoony, and I'm actually surprised they haven't brought it back. I mean, the last one came out probably a good decade or so ago, at least.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time.
Yeah, there was at least 2 of them or 3 of them, I think. I could try to look it up real fast, but yeah, it was just a good game, and it was one of the few that like had representation for people of color.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to shout that one out too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Trying to see when the last one come out. As we're looking up.
It's
yeah,
somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, it looks like yeah, I'm trying to go to the source here. 2006 was the last one.
Wow.
And that was a PlayStation Portable game.
Oh my god, PSP!
Yeah, the first one came out in 2004 for PS2 and Xbox. This is called Def Jam Fight for New York. Second one was called Def Jam Vendetta. And then last one was Def Jam Icon. Those were the 3. But yeah, they had like Snoop Dogg, Method Man, Ice-T.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would recommend check it out if you never play it. It's a generational thing. Like this new generation like might have heard of it, but it's totally like our generation kind of game.
For sure, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, I think we've kind of covered as much as we can. Like I said, I can't say so much. Kindle, in a way, has, can relate to this more than I could with what's going on. So it's something we had to cover. But as a result of that, there's a lot of news-related announcements. A lot of things got delayed and announced and stuff like that. So, Kendall, you want to kind of lead us into what's going on with some stuff?
Some smaller stories. I'm going to change the order of things up. Smaller stories to still support the Black Lives Matter movement. Call of Duty has actually added a new screen. And this screen, once you do the update, shows every time you launch Modern Warfare in between the load screen and switching to like a new mode. This statement that pops up reads, "Black Lives Matter. Our community is hurting. The systemic inequalities of our community experiences are once again center stage. Call of Duty and Infinity Ward stand for equality and inclusion. We stand against the racism and injustice injustice our Black community endures. Until change happens and Black Lives Matter, we will never truly be the community we strive to be." And they haven't said how long that will be up there. Maybe it's the next patch, but we think, or I should say the internet thinks, this is a great stepping stone for game developers to include into the games. They're just not announcing things, or they're not like just posting things online. They're actually making you have an update so that you read this every time you load.
That's kind of cool. Integrated
into
games,
right? Like they're this is gonna sound bad, but like they're really shoving it in your face for the people who are like too uncomfortable to research more things like themselves.
Right? Yeah, if like you're somebody that's in that community that plays Call of Duty and you're kind of like annoyed by everything that's going on, and it might it might put you off the game, but then for everybody else that's like, well, fine, we'd rather you not be here, or
yeah, exactly,
something like that. I don't know why it just. I mean, I would almost. I mean, in a sense, I guess the message is of a time, but at the same time, I'm like, why not just leave it up for forever to give somebody an option for that?
That's cool. Another thing's happening that's unrelated to the movement. As we've said before in past podcasts, the Epic Games Store has free games every Thursday. This week is Overcooked. If If you don't know what Overcooked is, it's a fun game, and I almost don't want to tell you about it because I want you to get it. But it's a multiplayer couch co-op game. You can play with other people online, and if you gotta bake, and it takes teamwork and camaraderie.
Oh yeah, that's you don't want me a part of that. Teamwork and camaraderie. Ugh. And yeah, make sure you get this, guys, because it was free for Epic like a while ago too. So if you haven't picked it up, pick it up now.
No, yeah, this is the sign that you should get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you missed it last time, it's here, so get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Just a couple things to add to. So we were saying a lot of events and stuff have gotten canceled.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things. So the Cyberpunk event that's been delayed. That's now June 25th.
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to be, I think, like a week earlier or so. A couple things. WoW Shadowlands got postponed. There was like an event for that. I guess it's like a new WoW expansion or something. Steam, which has their Steam Festival every year, that was supposed to start within this next coming week, I think. And it's now been delayed. It's going to actually start the 16th to the 22nd. That usually entails sales and then the lot of early access game demos and stuff. That's kind of what it gives them the chance to showcase all that for like a week. Also, EA Play has delayed their online thing. It's now going to be June 18th, 4 p.m. Pacific our time. All these things, by the way, I'm going to at least try to watch them for the most part. Except for maybe the WoW one, but just to keep updated with that. Also, they announced today too SGDQ, which is have you seen SGDQ? Have you watched any of that stuff?
No, I have not. I would love to know.
You should watch it. You should really watch it. It's basically they do 2 events every year. Summer Games Done Quick, which is like the original, and then one that's Awesome Games Done Quick, which is like in January.
Okay.
And they raise money to help. I think it's for cancer. It started quite a number of years ago. I think last year was this January I think was their 10th anniversary. And since then, the last couple years, they raised like up to $2 to $3 million per event. It goes basically, yeah.
Holy shit.
It goes on for a full week, and it's just speed runs. It's a full week of speed running. They start on Sunday. They stream on Twitch. It's 24 hours, and it goes all the way to the next Sunday. And it's one of those things, every time it happens, I'll watch it, and then I'll, like, miss half of it. I'm like, oh, I'll go back and watch it on YouTube and catch up on it, and I never do it. It's a good opportunity for you to see a lot of games that you've either never heard of or have been curious about but never wanted to play personally. A lot of school 8-bit games and stuff like that. Once you start, it hooks you in. I don't know what it is, and I never watch speedrunning at any other time. But whenever that happens each week, there's something about it that just gets you on the couch and watch. And there's people that will take off work for this and things like that. But the summer SGDQ one usually happens every June. They announced that they weren't sure what they were going to do with it. Now that it is June, they said, okay, they're not doing SGDQ. Instead, they're going to do an online version that's kind of something different. And they're going to do it in August. So August 16th to the 23rd, they're going to do it. And then get back to normal after that. They'll probably do January and SGD2. But they're not calling it SGDQ. They're just calling it like a different, separate event.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's still happening. Because usually what they do is they'll stream it online, but it's at a location. So people can come watch them play it live. And that's what kind of makes the event, too, is people cheering. And they usually have, like, one person playing the game, and then usually at least 1 to 2 other people, like, on the couch behind them talking about it, who also do it. And, you would be amazed. Like, every game has a speedrunning community within it, and they're talking about cycles, and then you're just watching it, And every time I think, whatever time they have to do this, I need that time in my life. How all these people have all this extra time to spend to figure out all this stuff in one game, have communities, Discord discussions about it. You don't think there's that many people that would care about that game that exists, but you would be surprised. Any game you can think of, there's one for it for something related to speedrunning.
Yeah. So that's exciting to see how they're going to do that all online if it's usually based around, like, an audience camaraderie kind of thing.
Yeah, I know they do stream on their Twitch channel once in a while. They have an official Twitch channel, and they'll do, like, a speed run here or there a week or something. But they'll figure it out.
Oh, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else?
So PlayStation. My boys PlayStation. So as you know, we were originally planning on covering the State of Play this episode. I thought it was going to be a major part of it. It got postponed. We're not sure till when. They haven't announced when the next was happening. Again, when that happens, I'm going to try to watch it live again. And we'll talk about on that following podcast.
Yep.
However, excuse me, they are still doing their Day of Play sale, which is something they do every year. What makes it a little bit different about this year, though, is usually they have, like, a limited edition console that comes out. Like a State of Play edition console. And they don't have one this year for some reason. But that's still happening. It's actually happening now. I think for, like, the next week. So you can go get online deals, I know, on the PSN store. I know Amazon's doing stuff for it. So check that out on your games. So you can get, like, God of War or Horizon for, like, $10.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing happened, but PlayStation got themselves into a little bit of a rut, Kendall. So here's the thing, because I didn't go over as Kendall because I'm just curious to see how she's gonna react to this. So I don't know how much you know about Australia in gaming. As you might know, okay, so Australia is known for being very not as much anymore, but definitely like a good 10 years ago, very filtered. So there's a lot of games that will release here and most of the world that sometimes won't release in Australia. They have stringent rules as far as, like, oh, if this is in a game, we're not going to ship it out here or something like that. They're very strict.
Interesting.
Yes, they're very strict. So, and related to that, Sony, if you guys know PlayStation, if you get stuff digitally, usually you can't, unfortunately, refund it. You can't give refunds while you buy it digitally. So if you're, like, unsure about a game, but you decide to purchase it and you hate it, I mean, that's the risk you take, right? For that kind of thing. So there was an issue where that they would Australia had with Sony. So this is according to, by the way, Video Games Chronicle. So I'm just gonna kind of cover this. So there's a specific commission, the ACC, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission. It had mentioned before that it could possibly take Sony to court because Sony basically refused to refund customers who bought faulty games through the store. And they were saying, like, that breached the consumers' rights. Like, they shouldn't be, like, getting, like, faulty games or issues. So they ruled this past Friday that there's claiming Sony, hey, they have false and misleading representations on the site and dealings with Australian consumers regarding how they digitally fund stuff. So this is more towards Sony Europe because that's more closer to where they're at. They're saying that they're responsible for the terms of service that you agree to when you sign on with PlayStation. And they're saying that basically they misled representations for consumers when the customer representatives told them that they were not eligible for refunds once their games had been downloaded or 14 days after they had purchased the game. The Australian is basically saying that they breached the contract by saying that telling one of the consumers you didn't have to provide a refund unless the game developer itself authorized it. And then they also told another consumer that they could provide refund using virtual PlayStation currency only, but not money.
Okay.
So basically, the Australians were like, consumer guarantee rights do not expire after a digital product has been downloaded, and certainly do not disappear after 14 days or any date claimed by game store or developer. So basically, yeah, Australia's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean like their rights disappeared. This is like the thing that you had them sign as part of the agreement, Sony, and you're not.
Yeah.
You're all of a sudden take away that right. Once they bought the game, you're like, well, we don't really count this anymore. This was before all that.
So fascinating.
They're like mixed messages. So then,
yeah.
they're saying like basically, yeah, they're like telling them one thing, but they're not really doing what they're saying, and they're not using their rights. So apparently, you can repair, replace, or refund for products with a major fault from sellers, and it cannot simply be sent to product developer. So like basically, if they get something Australia and Australia's all filtered and the whole system's messed up and it doesn't work, or it's faulty because it's going through to Australia and the servers and everything, it's like, you know, Sony's like, well, that sucks for you guys. You know, you made the purchase, and they're saying, but hey, you know, we have these select rules, and then you're not, you know, helping us apply to these rules. Like, people are getting kind of screwed over here, you know.
Yeah.
So then they introduced a new policy last year that allowed them to give the 14 days to cancel them. So before that, which I think it's like here too, it's like you don't really, I don't know if you can cancel here or not, but that doesn't surprise me that, like, before last year, you probably wouldn't be able to cancel your pre-order at all.
Yeah.
And that covered, like, pre-ordered stuff, release games, and DLC that they haven't technically downloaded or streamed yet. So they launched an investigation by the UK Competition Markets Authority to whether, like, Sony or just all Microsoft and Nintendo to see whether contracts have been breached as a result of this. It was concerned about how Sony does their business practices and the way they use auto renewals for subscription services and cancellation, the whole refund policy, basically the whole shebang of the agreement. So that's what's happening now.
That sounds like a mess.
Yeah, but basically the fact of the matter is that they lost. They had a court case and Sony lost over specifically the refunds, and they have to pay. Sony has to pay 3.5 million Australian dollars in penalties.
Wow! No way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
My boys are done goofed over there.
I was about to say, yeah. They got, wow, that's insane.
But yeah, it's just funny it happens to Australia, because Australia, you know, Australia's the one that's known to being a pain in the butt with companies in general with gaming.
Yeah.
So it's like, of course they would be the ones to... So I don't know if that's gonna, like, affect us. I gotta look at the terms agreement that we have. I don't know if it's specifically the Europe side of things where it's a little bit different. I don't know. I would assume, though, if they're doing Europe specifically, maybe they have a different set of rules. Because, like I said, I don't remember us having a 14-day return policy. I don't remember seeing anything about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Sony to death, but there are some things with their online system and all that is a little, makes it more difficult than it needs to be. Sony's been known for years for not working with other people all that much, or working with others well. They've been trying to change that in the last couple of years. They've been trying to now be more accepted of crossplay plus platforms. You know, they didn't like that at the beginning. They didn't like doing crossplay, and now they're trying. But I just thought that was fascinating when all this came out. This thing just kind of happened within the last week, and I was like, oh, there's a story. So I was just curious, like, with rules and stuff like that, like, what do you think? Do you think that, like, in general, we should have the option to refund after a certain amount of days? Do you think we should be able to get like our money back, or that given a virtual like gift card or whatever would be sufficient? I mean, how do you feel about stuff like that, just in general with buying games digitally?
I think it should be like almost retail rules, where if you buy a game, maybe you have like 2 weeks. I would say I feel like anything more than 2 weeks would be like, I don't know, like too soft on people. But I feel like if they had like 2 weeks to play it, if they don't like it, they can refund it. I don't think you should get maybe exactly your money back, maybe like credit for a different game that they're developing or something. You know?
Do you think?
Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, do you think there should be a like? Since everything's kind of going digital now, right? That's kind of the future, and things like this are to become important. Do you think there should be like something like a general like? Do we need to figure out a way to generally come up like, I don't know if it's like the ESA or some sort of way, like general ruling on this, or do you think it should be up to each company specifically? Because this is the future. Do you think something should be done
I think
for down the road?
I think something will start happening because of this court case, but in all honesty, it's probably going to be like company by company, you know? It's probably not going to be like a worldwide thing. If anything, there's going to be like something worldwide that we frown upon, but like there's nothing like set in place for something like this. You're right though, like we have been in this world where like you buy a game and it's too bad if you don't like it. You can try to sell it back to like GameStop or something, or but like
right, like
not much we can do in this digital world besides giving like credit for another game.
and that's an issue I had thought about prior to this whole like era we're in now. I'd always thought like, man, there'd be certain times where I bought a game or whatever and that I've like finished it and I'd be like, oh, I wish I could return it to get some funds back because I kind of finished it and I never need to play it again.
Yeah, that's the worst part about games though.
That's why that's why it took me a while. That's only until now I've started buying games digital, because even then, like, if it was a big game, I pre-ordered it. I always make sure I pre-ordered it on disc just in case. I might lose a few dollars, but if I don't like it and return the next day, I could get most of my money back to GameStop, you know?
So I think if anything, though, we will set up something where we're like, it's frowned upon by the gaming industry, the gaming community. That's like the most I see happening right now.
Yeah, I know, because it's like, oh, there's bigger concerns at the moment, but
yeah,
like if this all wasn't happening, and let's say E3 and all that resumed like it did, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, and if anything, things would regulate in Australia and not here, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to look up what Australia's laws are real fast, because like I said, I think I've heard they've gotten more lenient.
Okay.
But like, here's some examples of games that are banned in Australia, and here's some more details. So like, just
I'm so ready.
South Park, Saints Row 4, State of Decay, Silent Hill,
okay.
What else? A lot of these I haven't heard of. Witcher 2.
What? Is it the sex in it?
I get Highlight Miami 2. But then there's a whole list of some that have been overturned. So here's the list of overturned. This is more interesting. The list of overturned ones that used to be banned but are no longer banned: DayZ, We Happy Few, Outlast 2, House of the Dead, Mortal Kombat, Alien vs. Predator, Fear 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Sexy Poker, Fallout 3, GTA, Duke Nukem 3D.
I see the pattern, but that's That's a lot of good games, honestly.
Yeah, and this is according to Wikipedia, so I mean,
Yeah,
take with a grain
yeah.
of salt. But basically,
So
and
interesting.
some of the rules are like that. That basically the rules that would have it get banned is if the game had detailed instruction or promotion in terms of crime or violence,
Okay,
shows
yep.
rape,
Yep. Oh,
pedo-
that's The Witcher 2 right there.
pedophilia activity, child or abuse, gratuitous depictions of violence, sex violence, cruelty or violence, bestiality, fetishes, incest fantasies, things like that.
Yeah.
That's
so interesting.
Yeah. So
I guess maybe in Australian eyes, America's seen as like hardcore when it comes to content we have, and then we see them as like just very almost innocent, like, you know what I mean? Because we're so used to this.
As Steve Irwin just like, oh, nice, sort of, yeah. So it's called refused classification. That's like the rating, which is like, I don't know, it's like RC. It was just back on another page. I was just looking at it. Yeah, it's called RC is the rating, and then if it gets approved, it's R18 plus restricted or mature 15 plus restricted. That's like those different settings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. But yeah. So,
technically, good for Australia. Technically, because like we're like taking care of the children. You know what I mean? Over there, they're taking care of their children, and we're just like, here's GTA. Go have fun.
But can you imagine though, but like certain games where it's like back in the day, it's like, oh, you were 24 years old when they played GTA 4. You can't get it. You couldn't play. So that's interesting, yeah. But yeah, I just, that's just to inform the masses, because that's what we do. Just give them a little extra insight, things you might not think about. Yeah, Australia, interesting country. Well, so Kendall, there's been a few things that people have been playing a lot recently. What have people been playing recently? What's been going on?
Well, I know ever since Tuesday, people have been back on Valorant, and even you and I played a couple of games together.
Yeah, finally,
Same with played them with Fancy Ranson in chat. That was super fun. They introduced a new character. Her name's Reyna, and she's slightly OP. She's actually really, really OP. And a new map called Ascent. And a lot of gaming skins, and people are really excited about Valorant, the new character and the new map, and I've been playing that a lot.
What do you think of the new map? Do you like it? Are you different on it? Do you hate it?
I hated it at first, but obviously it came with like the territory of not knowing what I was doing or where I was going with it. But the more we played it the other night, the more I was like, I know what to do on this map now. Like, I know where to go, and I know where like to peek out from. So I it's growing on me for sure.
Do you get? Does it buy? Maybe not. I don't know. It's weird because I've never played a game like this. I've never really played a game where it's like I'm in the beta of something and then play it after. Does it bother you that you have to like start all over? That things are rebut, or is that like that's fair? But all your progress just kind of.
I'm on the side of it being fair, but I'm sure when it comes to like pro players or something, or someone who like takes these games too seriously, I can see how it hinders them and they would hate it. But like, you got it early, so you already have an advantage against people who didn't get the beta. So you should start playing and like leveled with everybody else. That's how I see it. For the people who haven't had the beta.
But then again, at the same time, they have like a battle pass or something too, right? Coming, or it's already out. I think they're having one. So I guess those people would probably buy that than
Yeah.
just to be like, well, I'm gonna buy myself that or whatever.
Definitely, this is like the game where people are gonna start spending all their money on. Like Fortnite's gonna become. I see it becoming like one of like the bigger microtransaction games in profit for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking it. I'll probably stick with it. I don't know if I could ever spend money on it though. But
Yeah, I feel that.
I just don't want the experience to get lost though, because like, oh, I didn't spend that money for this and this, and then I die in 3 seconds because of that. You know, like I don't want to be punished for not spending money, and that always seems what happens. I'm just like, God, and it's just a single player.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Also, too.
What have you been playing?
So there's a couple. So one is I just restarted playing The Last of Us, which I might continue tonight actually.
Nice.
Just because the second one's coming. I watched a replay through it recently, and so at first I was like, I don't need to replay because I just rewatched it. But then to get used to that feel of it, I was like, you know what? I'll redo it. Just so when I hop in part 2, I'm not stumbling around like a buffoon trying to remember how things work. And yeah, it's good. It looks good. It makes me excited about the second one, actually, quite a bit in terms of how it looks and the tone and everything. I don't remember how far I'm into it, but I'm a bit away. I'm just past like all that big hotel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I tried Minecraft Dungeons. Now if you know me at all, I'm not a Minecraft guy at all. I don't get it. I'm like, crafting. But people are like, oh, it's fun with friends. I'm like, whatever. Didn't care, but it was on Game Pass as it came out, and I saw it, and I hadn't played a top-down game like that in a long time. I do like those games once in a blue moon. I saw people play it. I thought I'd give it a shot. And you know what? It's not bad. It's all right.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I might continue with it. It seemed it's kind of easy, which is good for me.
Okay.
I played it by myself though, so I didn't get the full experience of like a game where you're kind of really supposed to play with other people.
Yeah.
But it was constantly fun. It's not bad. I would say if you have more Game Pass, give it a shot and see.
Okay.
Because I know somebody like, well, my viewer, she really likes Minecraft, but she didn't like Minecraft Dungeons. So just because you like Minecraft doesn't mean you'll enjoy this one, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was like, just for something different. So that's what I've been doing on. But yeah, Valorant's really the big one of the week, and we've been playing off stream, and hopefully we'll play more of it. As Kendall will tell you, I'm not the best. I'm more of like a support. At least like I'll let you know with my dead body kind of where they're at. That's kind of at least can achieve that. So I like how you didn't argue against that. You're like, yeah.
But you like, honestly, you know, it was you did really good against the shotgun guy when we were playing Valorant.
Oh,
and that was the most important thing that happened.
Yeah, whenever, like I said, it's one of those things, if I'm the last person, it's not going to go well. You don't want that to happen. But sometimes, you never know. Sometimes I'll pull a 1-2 on you.
Yeah, no, dude, there were some shots in there, and I was like, what?
Yeah, just, people in that game. So as we wrap up the stream here, again, next week is when things are going to start happening as far as like news and stuff goes. So hopefully we can finally get into that.
Yeah.
And talk about that. I know it's been like a somber weekend and stuff, but I hope everybody's been staying safe and okay with everything. I hope this discussion, you learned something and took some time off away from things. I mean, that's kind of why we do this. We love talking about games. We love being entertained by games. We love entertaining you guys. So make sure to support us. Follow us on the Twitter, !Twitter. Feel free to join either of our Discords. And if you have topics, whatever, let us know on Twitter about that.
Mm-hmm.
Just help spread the word. We're trying to get this thing, get more viewers and stuff. And so anything you can do to support the channel, let us know. We still have ideas for things we want to do down the road, and we want to one day be able to do those things. Also, new episode like usual. It's going to be next Friday at 7. That's when we keep our time. Although, so we kind of have some sort of announcement to make. Kendall and I talked earlier, and we decided with things going on that we're going to do a little bit something different. Well, Kendall, you can tell them what it is. I'll let you tell them what's going on.
We're going to have a charity stream! Okay, so we've decided on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, we're going to have a charity stream that is going to go towards BLM, and we are going to play some games created by Black developers. And I was thinking we could play some of the games that I even mentioned today. If you guys have any games in mind that we can play that supports the cause and the movement, please send it our way. But this is something we want to do for the community. This is something we want to do for you guys. So we're on Tuesday. It's going to be filled with lots of fun and support.
It's something Kendall and I were talking about doing a little further down the road. But given circumstances, we felt we'd make an exception and just do it now. If this does do well, hopefully we can do a lot more down the road. We can do a lot more charity streams, just hanging out streams, things like that. We haven't, to be honest with y'all, we haven't talked any details yet. Tomorrow, we're going to talk tomorrow and figure out details as like how we're going to do it, what time we're going to do it, things like that. So we'll keep you updated on that. But that's something we just kind of decided today to do. If you guys know, as you said, any games, any Black creators that make games that are trying to promote their games, feel free to like tag them, send them to our Twitter, send them, have them DM us, things like that. We love to get as many things as possible, whether it's like video games, board games, all kinds of stuff. We're kind of open to anything right now, but we are hoping, that maybe by tomorrow, hopefully, we can have some sort of idea of a schedule to let you know, like, how long's it be, what we're doing, specifically charity stuff and all things of that sort. And we hope you guys come and stop by and hang out with us. So this is gonna be really fun. It's gonna be really cool. That was our big announcement, kind of relates to what we were talking about earlier. Hopefully we're just trying to do a little bit we can. I know also Ken and I are both doing donations. I think at least like I'm still going to the calls as well. Doing the Black Lives Matter. I think I changed it to Colors for Change or whatever the new hot one is right now for that. Just tell us on Twitter, tell us on Discord, send everything you can. Yeah, we would love to help promote more Black creators in the community and things of that sort. If they're interested in hopping on or something, I'm sure we could find some sort of way making that work. To talk about it. I love doing that. That's our big announcement. And in the meantime, but don't worry though, we're still having the new episode next Friday. We decided Tuesday was a good day because that's when we first started doing the podcast. It's kind of like a little bit into the week. And then we didn't want to take away from the time of us doing the actual podcast still. I don't know if you have any final thoughts on that, Kendall, or anything.
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
I think you wrapped that up quite nicely.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind. So in the meantime, guys, so this is wrapping up our 5th episode of our podcast, about a month in. And hopefully it just goes up from here. Next week, we'll really start getting that gaming news. Hopefully, some happier, cool, more things are happening in the stream. And in the meantime, guys, we will see you next week on an episode, and we'll see you guys in for episode 6 next Friday.